YouTube. So it's Thursday morning, it is slightly warmer than it was at the weekend, but we are in positive temperatures, so it's a good start. We do some flat bench today, then we're going to move on to some weight releases, probably go 170, they'll release, come down to 140, and we'll press for 2. We'll do some forearm work in the rest period, and then if we get time we'll move on to some skull crushers or tricep extensions, but it is dependent on how much time we have, so let's get cracking. So we're going to go for 10 to make sure everything feels good. I can't tell if that was 10 or 11. Next we'll go 100. So as I mentioned in my last video, the idea here is I'm going to start with a relatively easy weight, and I'm going to increase that weight over a longer period of time. 140 for 10 should be doable. I think I'm going to increase it up to around 160 at the end of however many blocks it takes to get there. 160 at the moment, I get 5, relatively easy. PB I think is 7. So if I, at the end of all of this, get to 160, start getting less than 5, and then my recovery is an issue. If I get more, I know I've got stronger. So that's how we're going to run it. Okay, so 100 for... Don't see any reason why we shouldn't go for 10. That should be 10. So I think what we do now is 120 for 5, 130 for maybe 1 or 2, and then we go 140 for 10. And as I said, we are going to do some basic forearm wrist curls. You can do 10 on each arm. Let's go for 5. Like I said, we'll go 130 for a single. Right, 130. Right, it's time to go. I haven't done a 10 rep set for months and months and months on flat bench, I think. Maybe October, September, August. Yeah, that one hurt. But they were there. Okay, so next up we've got our weight releases, which are what these are, from Strength Shop. Can't remember how much they were, but the idea of these is we're going to load them with plates. I'm going to hang them from the bar, and then as these hang from the bar, they're a few inches off the floor. As they connect with the floor, they're going to detach, making the eccentric heavier than the concentric. They weigh 5 kilo empty, which means as I'm loading 10 kilo, each one's now going to weigh 15 kilo, as we've got 140 on the bar. Hopefully it's going to be a, if my maths is right, a 170 down and a 140 up. So as you load your lats and your body with the 170, as it's going to get lighter on the way up, hopefully, all being well, you'll be faster up. Now I do these for 2 reps. So on the first rep, they detach, so it's 170 down, 140 up. And then we're going to go for a second rep, which is 140 down, 140 up. My logic to it is, as your body has been primed for a heavier weight, and as that weight is not going to be there on the second rep, the speed should hopefully transition on the second rep. So a few things happen. We teach our body to handle a heavier eccentric. We can overload our eccentric. So if your max bench is 140, you can load 150 using the weight releases, and then press 120, 130, whatever you choose. So you overload your eccentric. As they come off, you get a lighter concentric, something I've used for a couple of years. I feel it's a part of the lift you can exploit. If you load a straight weight and it's a weight that is close to your max, you might or might not get it. Everyone can take a heavier weight to the chest. Every weight you fail is a weight you've taken to your chest. So you can take it down, but you can't necessarily press it. So by having a weight drop off, you get a lighter bar to go up. Like I say, you exploit it. I thought the eccentric is an easy way for people to gain some muscle activation. Also, I think for me, I use it to overcome mental barriers. So I'm forever worrying a pec's going to blow off, especially in comp, because comp's going to be the heaviest weight I've ever handled. So what I can do is, before comp, I can overload the eccentric using these weight releases. So I was forever fearful of 200. I've loaded up to 210, 215 I think, taken that to my chest multiple times, and funnily enough, my pec stayed attached. So knowing that I can do that in training, a straight bar, straight weight 200, I have confidence. So it's a tool you can use. If it fits your logic, your method, how you want to train, I definitely advise getting some.
What was that shoulder first time? Pop in.
Right, third set. Now, one thing to keep in mind is it does place stress on the shoulder, so that when you're trying to do an in rack, your shoulder is being buried down, so you've got to improve the strength of all the supporting muscles to lift the bar out and bring it over. So if you do self handouts, this will absolutely improve your ability on straight bars. But with that comes a risk. So if you do get some weight releasers, and they are 5 kilo empty, just use them empty for the first few times. So the bar's 10 kilo heavier at the top, they drop off, you lose 10 kilo on the way up. I've used them for quite a while, so I kind of know where my limits are. I think I've gone up to 40, 45, 50 kilos. In total weight across both weight releases, so 25 kilo each. That's probably the most I'll push them. But they are extremely good at teaching you how to unrack and build all the supporting muscles, ligaments and tissue. It's a very good exercise, I definitely recommend it. Anyway, 4th set. So I'm not losing speed on the concentric, so I'm going to do one more set, and that's what I call that. When the concentric starts slowing down after the weight's released, you know you're hitting your limits, it's time to move on. So one more set, total of 5 sets, and that's it. Okay, so 5th set, last set, need to make this count. The unrack's pretty brutal at this point. The pressure's just bearing down. It's to be expected. It's fine though mentally. I know as long as I unrack it and bring the bar out, that's the hardest part. What's next? Taking it to the chest. Great. 30 kilo unracks, boom, straight back up. So I need to stop waffling, procrastinating, and just get on with it. Yeah, that's good. It's good. I can add another 2.5, 5 kilo to that next week. That's fine. Hardest part at the minute is just getting my body re-used to these things. So 10 reps, my body ain't used to it. It's not that it's not strong enough. It's not used to it. If you're used to running 5Ks, but you can run marathons, but you only run 5Ks, you can't run a marathon in a week. You've got to build your system, build your body back up to tolerate and become conditioned to it. This is no different. So there'll be some quick adaptations, and yeah, we'll be good. So we're gonna have some very fast sets just to finish the session. Gonna go for some skull crushes and some close grip chest press. Yeah, maybe 3 sets, very rapid round. And that's it. I think that's about 20. And here, I'm focusing on squeezing the pecs. Apologies if you heard a little snort. I'm still dealing with a little bit of a cold. Oh, I nearly fell off then. getting heavy. Into chest press, focusing on squeeze. Right, so 10 kilo, and that's the last set. Right, very last set. It's going to be unpleasant. Rep range, maybe 8. That's it. Oh, that's it. And this is by far the most underrated exercise ever. Putting your shit away. And that's it. So my driving home car thoughts on today's session. It's pretty good. It was absolutely what I expected. Haven't been near 10 reps for a very long time, and it's shown. So all things considered, fairly happy. It will only take a couple of weeks for my body to adjust to higher reps. Like I said on one of my sets earlier, if you are a runner, you may very well run marathons frequently, but if your current training style is for 5Ks, building up to do a marathon takes time. You can't just run a marathon overnight. You've got to train for it, your body's got to adapt for it. Weights is absolutely same. There is the endurance aspect. It's really why you get peaking. So if you ever hear of someone peaking for a powerlifting competition or bodybuilding, the idea is they are focusing on one single aspect above all else. So for a bodybuilder, it would be to get shredded. The off season would have been the time where they added a little bit of chub, built muscle though. With a powerlifter, it's very much a case of off season you build your reps, you build strength, endurance, capacity, and you trade that. Going into a peak competition, you trade that for maximal output. If you do maximal output in your off season, you are leaving so much on the table, it's ridiculous, because you are creating such a massive recovery debt, and that debt needs paying. So you want to be able to incrementally build bit by bit without taxing your system to the point that you can't go again tomorrow. So that's where we're at. We're going to increase the reps, and because we're increasing the reps, we are getting further away from that maximal output, which then means it's easier to recover. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Good that we got the 140 for 10. It was a slight struggle, absolutely to be expected. Within a couple of weeks we'll be grand, my body will have adjusted. And then the weight releases, I really like weight releases. I haven't done them for a good while though. They are absolutely great at exploiting the eccentric part of the bench press. Everyone focuses on the concentric, so pushing the weight away. Everyone forgets about the eccentric. Say everyone, the vast majority. Gym bros, I'm looking at you more than anyone. And weight releases have so many benefits in my eyes. There is the mental aspect. So like I said earlier, I am forever fearful a pec is going to blow. I'm going to be hundreds of miles from home, potentially stranded, because then I need to drive home. So by going up to the weights, possibly exceeding them before comp day, I'm able to mentally break that barrier and have some confidence that my pec isn't going to ping off and, well, leave me stranded. So that's the mental aspect. The physical aspect is the unracks get harder and harder the more sets you do. So it absolutely encourages the recruitment of the muscles to do the unrack. I'm guessing serratus anterior comes in here because you've got to push that little bit. You learn the position of, you are tired, you are fatigued, but you still need to learn, and you will naturally do it, of bringing your shoulders into position, engaging your lats, and yeah, and then you have the actual eccentric part of, you can approach it multiple ways. You can do a fast eccentric. I am guilty, and some people are in this camp, some people are in another camp, but it is very much a case of you are in one or the other. Some people, as the weights get heavier, slow down on the eccentric naturally. I am in that camp. I can't explain to you why I do it. Is it mental? Maybe, but it's something I've always struggled with. Just simply the thought of getting a heavy weight in my arms and just dropping it to my chest, because that is what it looks like the other camp do, and just catching it in that last second to avoid breaking ribs and all the rest of it, kind of blows my mind. Or, you know, like I say, there's these people that it doesn't really matter how heavy that bar gets, the weight just drops to the chest effortlessly. So going back to my point on how you can approach the eccentric part, you can try and focus. If you're in the first camp where you get slower, you can focus on getting that eccentric down faster. Again, you know it's going to be lighter going up, so you get a mental benefit, an advantage there. So you can approach it like that. Or what I like to do quite often is approach it in a time and detention fashion. The idea being I get maximal muscle recruitment, I learn the position, I go through multiple repetitions to the point that even when I'm fatigued, even when I am blowing out of my arse, everything hurts, just holding the weight, bearing down on my shoulder, it is a horrible feeling. But even then, I know how to get my shoulders into position. I know how to switch all my posterior muscles on so that I have a fighting chance and avoid injury. So there's loads of benefits. You can go for making sure you are fast on the eccentric. You can try and do a time and detention fashion. I like to do both. Off season, I tend to go with the time and detention. That seems to be more of a focus. Going into comp though, I try and focus on moving that weight to my chest as fast as physically possible, because on comp day I do not want to be doing anything slow that includes the eccentric, where it is potentially going to rob me of energy to press the weight. So on comp day I want to get that to my chest as fast as possible and then move it off my chest as fast as possible. In the off season I want to grow. So for that reason, I can take two different approaches with the same exercise for different reasons. So it's really important you understand why you're doing something and make sure it aligns to what your goals are. If you want to get faster, there's no point moving it slower, literally by definition. So that's my thoughts. Today's been a good day. Everything will adjust and my body will adapt fairly quickly. Happy 140/10 still there. It is still cold, but it's more tropical, or feels a little more tropical because we're not in the minus degrees. So I'll leave it there. Apologies, I have still got this cold. I've had it for a good few weeks now. Hopefully in the next 1 or 2 videos it will leave me, and yeah, I'll talk a little more normally. So if I'm sniffing, snorting or otherwise struggling, apologies, but I'll catch you later.